There are moments in life when the weight of the world doesn't just sit on your shoulders, it presses into your very soul. Moments when the fight leaves you, when hope seems distant, when passion fades and all you want is to stop. Not because you failed, not because you didn't try, but because you have given everything and it still feels like it's not enough. This is the story of Elijah. A man whose name once roared with fire and glory, whose every word shook kings, and whose faith inspired a nation, yet who, at the peak of triumph, felt utterly alone. And at that moment, he wanted to quit everything. To understand Elijah's breaking point, we must first understand the scale of his victories. The land of Israel had been swallowed by darkness. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel had led the people into worshiping Baal, a god of storms and fertility, a god of false promises and empty power. Temples rose, altars burned, rituals filled the streets. The people's hearts turned away from the God who had delivered them from slavery. Their covenant with the Lord seemed forgotten. And God's judgment came, a drought, 3.5 years without rain. The rivers dried, the fields cracked, livelihoods vanished. Hunger and thirst became daily companions. The land groaned, the people despaired. And yet, in this darkness, hope arrived in the form of one man. Elijah appeared almost out of nowhere, a wild figure, unkempt, fearless, and full of fire. He didn't tiptoe into history. He shouted, he challenged, he declared God's judgment in no uncertain terms. And he did something no one else dared. He stood alone against the entire religious establishment of his time. The showdown was on Mount Carmel. On one side, 450 prophets of Baal, clad in their ceremonial robes, dancing, shouting, mutilating themselves, calling to their God with desperate energy. On the other side, Elijah, alone, with nothing but his faith in God, a simple altar, and a challenge. He didn't beg, he didn't panic, he mocked them, he called out the emptiness of their worship. And then he prayed, a simple, humble prayer to God. And fire fell from heaven. It was not a spark, not a flicker, but a consuming blaze devouring the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, even the water that had been poured around the altar. The people fell to their faces, trembling. "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" The drought ended. Rain poured down. The land breathed again, and Elijah, empowered by God, outran the king's chariot back to Jezreel. Victory, glory, triumph. And yet, it didn't last. Queen Jezebel was furious. The prophecy, the fire, the humiliation of her prophets, it could not be tolerated. She sent a chilling message. By tomorrow, she vowed, Elijah's life would be like the prophets he had slain, a death sentence. And what did Elijah do? He ran, not bravely, not with calculated strategy. He fled with raw fear in his heart. He left his servant behind. He walked through the wilderness for a full day, until exhaustion forced him to collapse. He found a broom bush, a sparse, lonely shrub barely offering shade, and there he sat, alone, defeated, overwhelmed. And he prayed, "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." This wasn't just physical fatigue. This was spiritual exhaustion, emotional depletion, the crushing weight of isolation. Elijah, the prophet of fire, the man who had brought a nation to its knees in awe, felt utterly broken. This is the human experience at its most raw. We've all been there. We've all poured ourselves out, achieved something incredible, and felt empty. The adrenaline fades, the applause is gone, the fear and opposition remain, and the desire to give up grows. And here is the remarkable part. God did not scold Elijah. He did not demand more. He did not remind him of his victories. God sent an angel, not with thunder, not with fire, but with bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. "Get up and eat," the angel said. Elijah ate. He drank. Then he lay down. The angel returned. Again, a gentle command, "Get up and eat." Twice God restored Elijah's strength. Before tackling the soul, God cared for the body. Before words of wisdom, He gave rest. Before direction, He gave nourishment. Sometimes, the most spiritual thing we can do is simply care for ourselves. Strengthened, Elijah traveled 40 days and 40 nights to Mount Horeb, the mountain of God, where Moses once received the 10 Commandments. He took refuge in a cave, alone, overwhelmed. And God asked, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Elijah poured out everything: his zeal, his frustration, his sense of isolation. "I am the only one left," he said. "The Israelites have rejected you. They have torn down your altars. They have killed your prophets, and now they want me dead too." God told Elijah to stand outside. A powerful wind tore through the mountains. Rocks shattered. But God was not in the wind. Then an earthquake shook the ground. But God was not in the earthquake. Then fire blazed. But God was not in the fire. And then a whisper, a still, small voice. It was in that quiet, gentle voice that God revealed Himself. God assured Elijah he was not alone. There were 7,000 others, faithful, hidden, unbowed. Elijah received new instructions, new purpose, new hope. His despair was met with grace. His exhaustion met with care. His fear met with gentle encouragement. Elijah's story teaches us it's okay not to be okay. Even the strongest and most faithful feel broken. Care for your body and mind. God provided food, water, and rest before giving guidance. Grace comes before judgment. God didn't scold Elijah. He comforted him. Listen for the quiet. God often speaks in whispers, not storms. You are never alone. Even in the darkest moments, there is unseen community. When the weight of the world feels unbearable, when giving up seems like the only option, remember Elijah. God meets you where you are. He nourishes your weary soul. He whispers courage, and He restores purpose. Sometimes, the greatest miracles happen not in the fire, but in the quiet.